Get up and move your body. A little bit of blood pumping first thing. That was fun. Get to get up in the morning and shake a little bit, rock it, get your blood pumping, do something, right? Energized. So cool. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. What's the big question we're going to ask today? First of all, I like to start with what I'm grateful for, and if you want to tell me what you're grateful for, put it in the comments, because it's good to start this year off right, with the energy and vibration of gratitude and love, so that we can be energizing. Whatever you focus on, that's what you're going to bring more of into your life. And believe me, I know that's true. So today, I don't know how much you guys know, because I'm just kind of starting these, but for some of you who've been my friends for a long time, hey Anna, I'm in the middle of writing my memoir. I should say not in the middle, thank God. I'm almost to the end of writing my memoir. And I have a unusual story, I guess you could say, in that I grew up with certain types of circumstances that a lot of people would see as bad. I grew up in a cult. It was a very famous cult called the Children of God. If you Google it, lots of stuff will come up about it. So right now I'm writing my memoir about some of these experiences, and of course it's not all bad. In anything there's always good and bad, or things that felt good or felt bad, right? But the big question that for me in my life, I've found that taking a different perspective on something can shift your whole attitude, your whole energy, right? That's why gratitude is so important. So if you ask, how can I be grateful for this thing, even this difficult thing or this tough thing that I've had to go through? When I was a kid, when I was going through something really difficult, I remembered that verse in the Bible that said, because it was a religious group I grew up in, it was a religious cult, so I was very immersed in the Bible, and I used to cling to this verse that said, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God. So even when I was going through something really painful and difficult, I would hold on to that and I would say, how is this going to work together for good in my life? Maybe at some point in the future, how is it going to bring me a gift, bring me something, even if it's just compassion on other people who have been through the same thing. So that's already a really powerful question, right? So that's a great question to ask yourself when you're going through something that's difficult. And that is to say, how could this bring something good into my life? What is the possibility of good that can come from this? Perhaps a strength or something else that you can get from this. But the question I wanted to pose today is, or should I save it for tomorrow? Thank you. Love you too. Hey, Dana. The question I want to pose today is, what if you chose this? What if you chose these things? Now, that's a tough question. A lot of people get freaked out when you say that. Like, what do you mean I chose, this bad thing to be molested or raped or whatever, all of which happened to me. And I got to a point in my life where I was able to be truly grateful for everything in my life. Even the stuff like rapes or other things that were considered really, really bad. I got to that point where I realized that all of those things made me who I am, and they helped me to understand other people in a way who had gone through things in a way I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And it helped me to create what I've created in the world. So the question, what if I chose this, right, is asking, like, what if I chose my parents? What if I knew that I needed to be born into that family and to grow up in that way and to experience all of those things that I experienced in order to become the person I am and to do the work that I am here to do in the world? And so that to me is a powerful question. And it doesn't have to be true, you see? It doesn't have to be, like, for me, the things that I'm gonna say, this is what I believe, they're gonna be things I can prove through logic. Now, I can't prove through logic whether we were just appeared at the moment of conception or whether we, were a being that existed prior to coming to Earth, right? Like an eternal being. I've got my own ideas about it, but I'm not going to argue about those kinds of things. But it gives you, when you ask a question, it opens up a whole new way to see a situation. And that is the power already. That's already the power right there, even without finding the exact answer. Hey, Dana. That's already the question, you see? So when I ask that, how does that change my perspective of my life? If I thought about it and I said, you know what, I came here to do this work. And if I didn't have the parents I had, and I didn't go through the experiences I went through, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have those experiences. I wouldn't have the strengths I have. I wouldn't have the understanding that I have. What if you see people who live your dream? What do you mean, Dana? Elaborate on that question a little bit more. I'd love to hear from you. So that's what I want to ask you. Ask yourself that question. And if it gives you a sense of empowerment, then good, then follow that, right? That's all I'm saying. Ask the question that's going to give you that sense of empowerment. If you say, what if I chose this? What if I chose these parents? Then what was it that I needed to learn from them? What was it I needed to learn from these experiences? What are the gifts that they've given me, both from perhaps being a good example in some areas and perhaps being a terrible example in other areas of their life, right? What have I learned from that? What is it? What am I taking forward from that? And am I choosing my life now, right? The reason I like that question is it can take something that is being in the victim and turn it into something empowering and into choice. So if that question feels good for you, if that gives you a whole different perspective on maybe stuff that's happened in your life in an empowering way, then great, then that's wonderful. And if not, then don't worry about it. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to ask powerful questions. And powerful questions are questions that open up a space in your mind for creativity, that open up understanding, and that give you a new perspective on something. That's what a powerful question does. Because all of our life is really composed of our perspectives on things, right? Our whole experience of life. Thank you. Ah, Dana, like you mean they have more opportunities than you do. Okay. Yeah. Oh, believe me, I get that. I get that. I understand that, right? Um, when I grew up, we had nothing. I mean, when I say we had nothing, we had an outhouse, and my parents were volunteer workers. We had no money. We weren't educated. I didn't go to school. So believe me, a lot of people had a lot more opportunities than I did, and but you can also choose what you want. There, you can take and have an intention and go after something, get a goal, go after it, and don't let other people tell you what you can and can't do, right? Because, like I said, I wasn't really, education was not a priority in my family. So but I was able, it was my intention. I wanted to graduate from high school. That was my intention. I had to work really hard. I had to put myself through high school with a correspondence course and study it for myself. So there's always a way. And right now, at this point in history, there is so much knowledge everywhere, free on the internet. Just because you have a phone, you can access information everywhere, right? You can access the top minds in the world. You can access their books and everything. So, yeah, if you're out there to learn and to grow, you will find a way. I promise. There is a lot of opportunity. Now, I may not have, even now, I don't have the same opportunities that a lot of other people have in the world. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what I've done so far with my life. And I'm grateful for everything that I have been able to create. And understanding my past is also understanding what is uniquely me. What is the unique gift I have to give to the world? Because I don't have to be the same as everybody else. And I don't have to reach the same heights of, of wealth and money and everything else that other people may have. That doesn't have to be my path, right? My path is what is important to me. So that's what we were asking in the earlier few videos ago. What is important to you? And really figuring out what is important to you and building your life to create that. All right. So anyway, that was short, my little question for you today. And that's really two questions. One is, which I think is probably the most empowering question, is what is the good that can come out of this thing in my life? Whatever it is, whatever difficulty, strain, poverty, getting fired from your job, abuse, whatever it is, what is the good that I can create from this? What is the good that can come out of my life from this? Even if it's just healing and then being able to share that healing with others. And then the second question is, what if I chose this? What if I chose this? If that's an empowering question for you, then ask it. Ask it. Get yourself a whole new perspective on your life. A new perspective changes everything. So that's today's. Have a beautiful day. And remember to always talk about what you're grateful for. Start with that. Start with what you're grateful for, and the rest will come. Okay? Bye.